Remember, the reason for the season. I know it's cliched, but you know what? I'm going to say it again. The reason for the season. What's up, familia? How y'all doing? Today we're going to be talking about the third week of Advent. It's crazy to think how fast the time is going. We're reaching the midpoint of the entire season of Advent. Today we're going to be talking about several things in regards to Christmas Day and the Advent season that we're still going through. Number one, so in the first video, I referred to the third Sunday by a word that I'm going to be putting up on the screen right now, and it's actually pronounced gaudete. It's broken up into 3 syllables, and I'm going to spit them up here on the screen so you can actually say it. And this word means joy. Now, this is actually taken from the entrance antiphon of the Mass, where it says, "Rejoice in the Lord always. Again, I say, rejoice." As you go to Mass this week, think of the theme of joy. The color that's going to be predominant this Sunday is actually going to be rose. Rose is actually the liturgical color for joy. Number 2. So during the season, a lot of people are going to be joyous, enjoying the holiday season, enjoying the liturgical season, and enjoying the winter weather season, which this person is enjoying it a lot. But with that being said, the stresses of life just get to us, and we need somebody to help us during those moments. Now, if you've seen any of my videos, you know that I've mentioned that prayer is a key component of finding joy in life. In prayer, you're able to send your request to God Himself and ask Him to help you out for whatever you're going through. 5 saints that you can ask for their intercession during this Advent season are Saint Ambrose, Saint Lucy, Saint Francis Xavier, Saint John Damascene, and Saint John of the Cross. If you've never heard this word intercede or intercessionary, it's basically this. Let's say you go up to your best friend and you ask for their help with something, whatever you're going through. And in this case, you actually say to them, listen, you think you could pray for me? Do you think you can pray for this request in particular that I have? I'm going through something a little bit difficult and I feel like my prayers aren't being answered. Now, that's not to say that your prayers are not going to be answered. In fact, we need to continuously pray. But it's never a bad thing to have somebody else pray for you. It's always a great feeling when you sit down and ask that person and they say, you know what, I'm going to take some time and I'm going to pray for you and whatever your request is. Think of it like that. So these saints we're going to be asking, we know that they lived holy lives, and we always tend to think, and especially me, I always tend to think that their prayers are, for whatever reason, a little bit more powerful. And that has nothing to do with being great people or anything like that. They are amazing, great examples of living Christ in the world, but that doesn't take away from our prayer and how strong our prayer is. Prayer really is it's in the intention and how much faith we have when we bring this petition or this request to God. We truly have faith that along with their intercession, our prayers will be heard. Number 3. So each house by this point has already been decorated with lights, the Christmas tree, snowflake lights, candles, poinsettias, a bunch of different things. And one of the decorations that is normally put up is the nativity scene. Now, the nativity scene, you can get them now in any store basically, and you can set it up in your own house. You can either have small nativity scenes, big nativity scenes, or humongous nativity scenes, but I don't have that much space to put a big nativity scene in my house. Now, we actually have one person to thank for giving us the nativity scene, and that is St. Francis of Assisi. Now, take a moment and think of how St. Francis of Assisi came up with this idea of creating the first nativity scene. Think about it. Up until that point, there wasn't a visual representation of what was actually said in the New Testament in regards to the birth of Christ. All the words were there, but there weren't that many visuals to have and people imagine and really understand what the nativity scene actually looked like. I truly believe that St. Francis actually prayed on this, and he got inspiration from the Holy Spirit to build the very first nativity scene. Now, the first nativity scene, it wasn't like the nativity scene that you've seen in your house, or you've seen in your neighbor's house, or you've seen in your cousin's house, or your auntie's house, or in your tia's house, or in your tio's house, wherever it is. It's not like that one. It's not like these little figurines where they have St. Joseph, Mother Mary, the donkeys, the shepherds, the baby Jesus. It wasn't anything like that. In fact, St. Francis actually used real animals and real people to recreate the nativity scene. And just imagine that. Think of how he must have explained it to the people of his time, letting them know, hey, listen, I want to set this up and I want to build this because this is a representation of the birth of Christ. Imagine that. Imagine in his time mentioning to the people, listen, let's do this. You have to understand that in St. Francis' time, his mission was to rebuild the church. He got that specific mission to rebuild the church. Now, when he went out there and he saw all of this corruption going on, he wanted to have and use this visual of the nativity scene as a big point of emphasis for people to actually have and actually tangibly see, hey, this is what Christ's birth looked like. It wasn't all of this stuff in gold. It wasn't anything like that. He wanted to show people how the inn looked with hay, with animals, with shepherds, well, a manger is pretty dirty. A manger is pretty not well kept. It's not a very comfortable place to be in. And so imagine having no nativity scene one year, and the next year this man comes up to you and says, on the 25th, we're going to be showing the nativity scene. Think about that. Mind blown. I know for a fact I would have been looking at him like, yo, bro, like, you know, that donkey kind of smells funky, but hey, that's an animal. Be nice to him. No, don't be mean. Don't be mean. Donkey's being nice. So let's thank St. Francis for giving us the nativity scene that we can actually use as an expression of our faith, as we truly believe that Christ was born in his manger, and as a true inspiration of hope and joy. Now, throughout this video, I've been talking about this word joy. And the first part I mentioned gaudete, which means joy and rejoice. A Bible verse you can go and read today is Luke chapter 2, verse 10. But the angel said to them, do not be afraid, for behold, I bring you good news of great joy, which will be for all the people. Now this verse reminds us of that joy of the coming birth of Jesus. Imagine the reason for the season. The reason for the season is Christ. That's why Christmas is named after him, Christmas. It's funny how that word Mass is in Christmas. You have to go to Mass? It's interesting. Christmas, Mass. Christ Mass. I like the way they put that. Stay tuned for next week's video where we'll be wrapping up this mini Advent series. If you got anything out of this video, make sure you hit that like button. Make sure you hit that subscribe button and the notification bell so that way you stay up to date with all the brand new content. Now I'm going to leave you with a quick question. What reminds you of joy? What have you done up until this point that has brought joy to your life? Put it in the comment section down below. I'm going to be checking those out and I will be responding to them as they come in. I dropped my papers. Wow. Why did I drop my papers for? You always gotta be prepared. You always gotta be prepared. Stay blessed. God bless.